Alex, I would like to pull you on stage. Please join me, Alex, and we will fix your hair. We will fix your hair later.
Ja, wenn Istanbul Arzt Gott das nicht fixen, dann kann es niemand fixen. Okay.
Okay, Alex, please join me here. I have taken note during the recording on a couple of topics that I would like to touch on deeper. What is core? What is business? So we have these various components or data domains, as we like to call it. What is this enabling? Are people left without guardrails? And what is core? Can we do whatever they want? Do you want to add a couple of points here?
Yes. What is important to say here is that what we enable is we enable the SQL transformation, and we enable people to do the, I would say, everything what is inside of this process of transformation, orchestration, and ingesting. And the core concepts of how we slash and slice the pipelines inside of the Magenta is actually a higher level concept, which is not connected to the underlying platform itself. And what this allows us is actually to reason it better about how we separate the data inside of Magenta, how we separate, for example, something what is the core data model from the business implementation, where the people are in the very last stages of the data lifecycle and really just interested in extracting the most value out of the already prepared data inside of the core.
Yes, so what I want to summarize what Alex just said is that just by giving people the possibility to join the data team doesn't mean that we handle shadow IT in the domain of data, but also other core data processes. By giving these people options, giving them a good platform, and then supporting them wherever we can. This means we still have core data assets that are maintained by the core platform, but they're adjacent data projects that are relevant other so far unmaintainable or shadow IT projects that are actually core data processes of Magenta that are now becoming a governed thing.
Yes, what is important there to say is that you can ask yourself, how is this actually solved in your company right now? And what we also see inside of Magenta is that there are groups of people which are very interested inside for the data, and they are very interested to work with data, but they don't have tooling, because not everybody, and this is what we believe in Magenta, is that not everybody can know from the tooling on the very low level to the business processes. And then we try to separate those processes in different people who are responsible for different parts of the platform. And then the people who actually knows business, they have a very easy jump into the technology, and we are then supporting them to get the most out of their data.
Exactly. So this leads to fundamentally better collaboration, and the key is slicing and dicing on the right levels. That means fields or places or compartments of data, but also on finding the right levels of abstraction for enabling these people. Mm-hmm. And one of these is also making sure that AI and BI workloads can be combined. A lot of people have their BI stack, and sometimes it works even very great, but they're lacking native means to include their data science team. The concept that we have shared here is generic, can be adopted by your own company, and has the advantage that there are no silos. In fact, also the BI workloads, including the AI workloads and the data science team, are part of the same harmonized asset graph.
Yes, what is important here to note is that AI is just a part of this picture. And for example, also the AI use case on the very often end with a report at the very end, where we kind of show the results of some clustering or some classification. And this is also very important to provide all the functionalities inside of the same project, and that everybody who is actually doing AI and doing dashboarding and doing transformation is actually able to do so. So you can imagine that a data scientist maybe can also prepare data with dbt, which is very convenient, and then use this last layer for the AI model, and then, for example, show it inside of the Tableau or some reporting tool.
And the idea is that by sharing tools means we can share hands and resources and make sure data issues that inevitably will show up somewhere can be solved more quickly. One question that I get asked from time to time is streaming. How does a data orchestrator support streaming? I would like to slice this into two parts, actually. First part is soft streaming, and the other one is more hard streaming. Soft streaming means something refreshing rather soon. Well, for a lot of people, that can mean actually daily or hourly. As a data engineer, this is rather a bad job and they don't care about it. But there are so many banks that have a big issue with intraday data refreshing in their data pipelines. So what we have presented here is a very simple means of making sure that you are up to a couple of minutes, fresh data can stream in a soft way with micro batches easily and consistently.
Yes. What I always, when I speak about streaming, I always like to remember on this picture, which is a kind of very important picture in the Kafka world, where kind of person is trying to go over the street and saying, if I would know 5 minutes ago if there was a car, would I go over the street? Yeah. And maybe in this moment I would say also, this is very important. I should actually look left and right and take a look and not go over the street. But what we have to reason it here is that it's very important to differentiate between who is using data, who is producing data, and what is actually a data use case. And that the streaming, real-time streaming is not always the important, and that it brings different challenges, and that dependent on what we want to achieve, actually also the amount of data can change, and what are the transformation logic, what can change. And always how we have to think about this is that if it's needed for fast, so basically how long or how much a person needs to react if you see this information right now on the screen. Yeah. And what does it mean is, if I look now on the historical data for last 2 years, and I want to say, okay, in next month we are doing something else because I see that last 2 years we are doing something else, then this is not real time, and it's not needed real time. And this is very important to kind of differentiate what does it mean. And what Georg said is that if you correctly orchestrate the data, that you can really come to something what we called in my previous job near real time, which is as fast as possible, but not real time, but still good enough, because people at the very end of this pipeline react with this information as they get it, and till the new information is there, they are kind of improving the older state. Yeah.
And the important thing is here that the asset graph helps us facilitate eventually syncing in a consistent way with state over to all the pieces in that graph. There is the possibility of having requirement for hard streaming, and there it's easy. You have to pre-provision certain resources and make sure that ideally they speak things that our existing asset graph already can speak, meaning SQL, being declarative, being easy to reason about by your analysts, and then make sure that ideally dbt is a supported interface, and then you can easily add these persistent streaming engines into the graph. If you have more complex needs for hard streaming, you may require custom coding, but you still could start and stop your streaming, let's say, transformations directly from the orchestrator.
I would argue if a machine is at the end of this pipeline, then it's not good enough. If a person is at the end of this pipeline, then it's potentially fine.
Yes, but what it means is streaming can be tricky, especially if you have hard real-time constraints. You will need to talk to your engineering team. So to finally conclude, I can only encourage everyone here to join the movement for local data to reduce complexity and deliver more business value to your teams faster. Is there something you want to add, Alex?
I think we are already over time.
We should actually say we're always looking for feedback. So we are more than interested to hear some comments on YouTube, on the blog, or elsewhere.
So we are really happy about every feedback, and we are really happy to get into some discussion about things which we are doing, because we are always trying to improve, and we are really motivated about what we are doing, and
you should say we are passionate, Alex.
Passionate. Yes, we are.
So I hope you learned a lot. We are passionate about what we're doing. Please join the movement for asset-based orchestration.